That's enough, sir.
The head of state said the new hostel is a landmark undertaking that will provide quality medical care for Kenyan security personnel exposed to danger while protecting the country's borders, citizens and their property.
And this is yet another milestone in ensuring that those of you who put their lives on the line and in danger to protect your fellow citizens are assured of the best possible medical care that can possibly be given.
Defense Cabinet Secretary Dr. Monica Juma and Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces General Robert Kibochi say the facility will contribute immensely to the well-being of the country's security personnel by providing specialized medical services.
And this level 6 hospital will go a long way to ensure that our forces across the security sector are ready to deliver on the constitutional mandate to protect the territorial integrity of this nation and to provide security for our citizens.
As we launch a very important capability that will serve the security sector and to a large extent some parts of the population of Kenya, especially in Nairobi.
As part of efforts to achieve universal health coverage, the president said the government is rolling out new health facilities and expanding existing ones across the country.
Very soon we will be opening some additional hospitals here in Nairobi to cater for our informal settlements. We are upgrading various hospitals. We intend to upgrade Kenyatta National Hospital, Moi Teaching and Referral. We are building new hospitals at Kenyatta University, as well as a number of other hospital facilities that we shall be opening across the country to ensure that our people have access to health care, which I believe is the foundation of a sound, healthy, secure, and prosperous nation.
The Level 6 hostel will have a 700-bed capacity, 15 surgical operating units, oncology center for cancer diagnosis and treatment, and accident aid emergency units.
Now on to matters education. Parents whose children will not have reported to Form 1 by Friday this week risk arrest and prosecution. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, who spoke when he led a multi-sectoral team on a door-to-door campaign to mop out learners who are still at home in Kiandutu slums Thika, further directed administrators to arrest parents whose school-going children will be found idling at home.
While the Ministry of Education aims at achieving 100% transition to secondary school, a significant percentage of learners are yet to enroll to Form 1. The ministry now warns of dire consequences on parents found retaining their children at home.
We have rescued 4 children in Kiandutu just a few minutes ago, and we are taking one of the children from Kiandutu to the Joyland Special School. And I sincerely hope that by Friday, when I write a report to His Excellency the President, it will be that all children are already at 100%.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has further directed local administrators to ensure they have details of parents yet to take their children to school by Friday this week.
Beyond that, we are going to turn to the parents. After Friday, we shall turn to the parents and to find out if we find that you are keeping a child at home and the child is not in school, we shall arrest them. Every child must be in school. And I'm saying this because the only game changer in this country is education, which the government is providing free.
The CS who spoke at the Kiandutu slums in Thika further urged parents facing challenges regarding Form 1 enrollment to instead report to their county offices.
The government pays capitation and has already paid capitation for the first term, which means when the child goes to the school, everything is there, books and what have you. All that the child has to buy is school uniform. No teacher in this country should send a child home from a day secondary school because of either lack of uniform or lunch money.
Nyanza and Central regions lead with an average of 97% of Form 1 enrollment, followed at a distance by Eastern region, which has attained 86%, while Nairobi at 74% and Coast 83%. Meanwhile, the Minister of Education has released guidelines for basic education registration that will see the process categorized into 1-year or 5-year provisional registration. Stakeholders who intend to start an institution for basic education and training shall apply to the County Education Board, upon which approval shall be made depending on approval by the Directorate in charge of quality assurance and standards.
Now, this has elicited a lot of debate both on mainstream media as well as social media, and we want to invite you to give your comments in regard to that directive that by the Cabinet Secretary of Education, Professor George Magoha, that says that those parents who are found having not taken the children to Form 1 risk arrest. What is your take in regard to that matter? Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1 News. Mine is at Regina Manyara. Get tweeting. What do you think about that particular directive? Now, crossing over to the corridors of justice, the murder case facing six police officers accused of killing 2 brothers in Embu took a new twist after all their lawyers withdrew from the case. The 6 will now have to get state lawyers before the case can proceed. Ben Trenjoy with an update on the Kianjokoma brothers murder case.
The Kianjokoma brothers murder case continues to attract public attention. Twists and turns are evolving. When the suspects were presented before High Court Judge Daniel Ogemba Tuesday, their lawyers pulled out of the case.
The instructions we have from our clients is that they are not ready to take plea, and they will, once they are ready to take a plea, after they have been cleared medically, they will be before you.
The 6 police officers were arrested in connection with the death of 2 brothers, Benson Jiru and Emmanuel Mutura. Another twist was that the suspects wanted to defer taking plea, claiming one of them, not in court, had contracted COVID-19 and they had not been tested for the same. Justice Ogemba said the 6 could take plea on Thursday after securing services of state councils on Wednesday.
I believe that the instructions that you have are the same, so that your submissions should suffice for the other counsel.
The suspects also have a pending application in the High Court, where they are seeking to have the bodies of the 2 brothers exhumed for purposes of conducting an independent autopsy. The 6 are accused of murdering the 2 brothers who were in their custody after they were arrested for contravening curfew hours.
Well, we'll still be keeping you informed in regard to that matter. Remember, the 6 police officers also had made an application to have the bodies of the Kianjokoma 2 brothers exhumed for an independent autopsy. We will be keeping tabs on that because we have our reporters based at the courts just following up on what is making headlines there, or rather what is making news. They are onto matters politics with a twist, matters of the BBI. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has asked promoters of the Building Bridges initiative to apologize to Kenyans for launching what he termed fraud. Now, the Deputy President said the scheme was meant to serve the interests of a few individuals.
Of the judiciary should be entrenched in the Constitution.
2 weeks after the Court of Appeal killed the BBI dream, the Deputy President now says the promoters of the concept owe Kenyans an apology.
Sasa wewe munatuambia mambo hii ya BBI, the biggest fraud that ever happened in the Republic of Kenya, ya kwamba wale ambao walikuwa wanasukuma hii mambo ya BBI saa hizi wanatuletea ukora na uongo na utapeli, ati Tulikuwa tunataka kupitisha BBI ati ipatikane tax holiday kwa vijana. Hauhitaji kubadilisha katiba, tax holiday ipatikane kwa vijana.
During a consultative meeting with women in small-scale businesses from Dagoretti North, the Deputy President said the Building Bridges Initiative BBI was a scheme laced with sweeteners to entice Kenyans.
Mnataka kubadilisha katiba kwa sababu mlikuwa mnataka kutengeneza rais pepari. Mtu ambaye ataenda bunge, achague wabunge, wawe mawaziri ili aweze kucontrol bunge. Mlikuwa mnataka kuweka rais ambaye atatumia ile ombudsman kule judiciary ili aweze kumanipulate the judiciary.
The Deputy President claimed the BBI was a necessary burden to poor Kenyans as it required so many things to be achieved. Meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i will on Wednesday appear before the Parliamentary Committee on Administration and National Security to shed more light on the changes to the security detail of the Deputy President.
Still on matters politics, Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga has come out to clarify what he terms as a misinterpretation of a statement he made on the allocation of revenue to Mandera and Kiambu counties. Speaking on Tuesday in Nairobi, where he met business communities from Nairobi's ISIOLO state, Raila said he only compared the two counties on the basis of the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote revenue allocation model.
Barely 2 days after political leaders from Mandera County criticized ODM leader Raila Odinga over his revenue sharing model, which is based on population size, the former Prime Minister has come out to clarify the context of the argument.
I said it's not fair to the people of Kiambu. And I also qualified and said that does not mean that we deprive Mandera of his rights. He said, give Mandera his rights, but let's Kiambu people also get their rights.
Raila, who met the Somali business community from ISIOLO, who was seeking his intervention to address challenges affecting their trading environment, cautioned government agencies against harassing local investors.
But taxation should also not be punitive. Because if it is punitive, then there's always a tendency for evasion of paying taxes. So what these people are saying is that they don't mind paying taxes, but they want the taxes to be reasonable and be also collected in a humane manner.
He at the same time urged the Kenya Bureau of Standards to focus on its mandate of ensuring standardization of products that affect the quality of life of the people.
There are no standards for used cars. They are in Mutumba. So that is not the work of the Bureau of Standards. And the Bureau of Standards should be more concerned with standards that affect the quality of life of the people. If somebody is buying something that is substandard, knowing that is that item is substandard, shall react. And that is something that is going to harm the life of those persons.
Now away from matters politics, with a new development coming that Moses Kuria, that is a Gatundu North MP Moses Kuria, says he will not vie for any opposition come 2022. That's the general election. He says, and that is Moses Kuria, will use the platform to bargain for a bigger cake for the Mount Kenya region instead in the next government. This is just a reminder that he's also the party leader of the Chama cha Kazi. We're going to be keeping tabs on what is happening on the political scene. As we always say it here, you need to look at who is making what move to what, and remember that it's this campaigning season. We're going to have alliances, we're going to see some break, but we all know what the target is, and that is to have a seat at the table come 2022. Now, away from that is that the National Police Service Commission says it is committed towards achieving the highest standards of professionalism and discipline among officers. Now, speaking during interviews for the promotion of the Chief Inspectors of Police to assist and to Assistant Superintendent positions, the Commission's chairperson, Eliud Kenothia, said the exercise follows the respective officers' training on leadership and management.
The National Police Services Commission on Tuesday morning interviewed 33 out of 63 Chief Inspectors of Police. The interviews to determine whether the officers will be promoted from Chief Inspectors of Police to Assistant Superintendent of Police.
Apart from the IPOA and the Internal Affairs Unit, and apart from maybe the IG knowing what you're doing, IPOA marking.
The Commission Chair Eliud Kenothia said the officers went through rigorous training in the areas of leadership and management.
Kwanza sisi tuna approve training policy ya polisi, curriculum na mambo ambao wanastahili kufundishwa. Kwa hilo tumehakikisha kwamba matayarisho yote ambayo yanahitaji mafunzo, na moja yao ni kama hii, wasimamizi ambao watasimamia vitengo mbalimbali wamekwisha pata curriculum na mafunzo ambayo inastahili. Hiyo kwa upande wa commission, hilo tumehakikisha imefanyika.
The training, according to Kenothia, was tailored to have the officers attain high standards of professionalism and discipline while discharging their duties.
Kuna dhana ambayo inaenezwa wakati ingine ya kwamba maofisa hawa sio professionals ama hawajapata kuhitimu. Hawa maofisa ukiangalia umri wao na ile miaka na hiyo training already kwa middle level management, hiyo ni sawasawa na kiango cha post diploma certificate kwa wiki 6 kwa mambo tu ya uongozi, supervision na kusimamia wafanyikazi na kupanga mikakati ya kazi ya polisi na kufanya maamuzi yanayofaa.
Out of 63 officers, 33 are from Administrative Police Service, while 30 are from Kenya Police Service, Regular General Service Unit and Directorate of Criminal Investigation.
Now, just in case you missed a certain interview with Ben Chumba during yesterday's session of Kurunzi, he was interviewing the head of IPOA, who went on to explain, or rather elaborate, the role that IPOA is playing to ensure that, you know, those perpetrators, police who are found in contravention of the law, are brought to book. You can always find it on our website. It has been uploaded. That is www.kbc.co.ke, or better yet, go to your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 News. Now, Kenya has commenced lobbying the Commonwealth states to support the country's Defense Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma for the position of Secretary General. Now, speaking after meeting Commonwealth diplomats and heads of mission in Nairobi, Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Rachel Omamo called on the envoys to support Kenya's bid.
Kenya has assembled Commonwealth state diplomats and head of mission in Nairobi to lobby for the Kenyan Defense Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma, who was nominated by President Uhuru Kenyatta to contest for the post of 7th Commonwealth Secretary General.
Is to reiterate Kenya's request for the support and endorsement of your esteemed governments and countries of this nomination. We seek your favorable consideration of Ambassador Dr. Juma as the 7th Secretary General of our organization.
Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Rachel Omamo, who met the envoys, convey the request on behalf of Kenya.
I look forward to engaging with your excellencies as we seek consensus for a candidate whom the Commonwealth family can count on to build on our past successes and to set us on a path to a stronger and more influential organization.
Omamo says Juma is a strong consensus candidate that will deliver an effective secretariat driven by member states' priorities. Juma, who was present, pledged to serve the Commonwealth state with commitment, guided by its values and principles should she clinch the position.
I will seek to build consensus. To build consensus within in order to strengthen the Secretariat to deliver on the decisions of the Commonwealth, in order to respond and understand
the interests and concerns of the member states.
She further expressed a commitment to live up to the noble calling and the great responsibility this post brings.
It is my hope, therefore, that the heads of government of the Commonwealth will find it befitting to endorse my candidature as the 7th Secretary General of the Commonwealth during their next summit.
Just to take you back, when it comes to matters of diplomacy, this is not just the first attempt for Kenya to just woo other member states to support its candidates there. We hope that Monica Juma is going to clinch that particular coveted position there of the Secretary General there. We also want to give you to just say good morning to those who have made time. Remember, we are welcoming your feedback. You can reach us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 News, at Dorina Rangia, Jane Mumboy, and Victor Law, as well as Regina Manyara. Thank you very much, Agnes Wanjiro, for always keeping us company every morning as we broadcast Good Morning Kenya. But for now, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back. Good morning. If you're tuning in, this is Good Morning Kenya. You're just in time for comprehensive news coverage and those stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours. Now we cross over to the counties where the number of fatalities in the collapsed building in GACHIE, Kiambu has risen to 3 after 2 more bodies were retrieved from the debris yesterday afternoon. Meanwhile, rescue operations are at 90% complete as the disaster rescue team combed through the debris in search of more survivors.
2 more bodies were retrieved from the residential building that collapsed in GACHIE, Kiambu County on Monday. The number of fatalities has now risen to 3. According to the head of the rescue team, Dr. Duncan Ochieng, the operation is almost complete.
We are making progress in terms of search and rescue, and as at now we have managed to retrieve 2 bodies, 1 male and 1 female.
Elsewhere, a family in Liki village in Nanyuki town is mourning the death of their father, who was brutally murdered by a non-assailant. Josiah Minyonga was killed in his house after people believed to have been hiding outside his home confronted his wife, who had gone to close the gate at around 8:30 p.m. The assailant forced her back to the house where the husband was relaxing.
Wawezi walikuja, wakaingia, hata hawakuuliza swali lolote. Walichukua tu mzee, wakaanza kumpiga panga. Sasa hapo ndio hiyo harakati, mzee alifariki.
In another development, police in Nakuru have launched a manhunt for a 35-year-old man suspected to have killed his lover at their home in Lakeview Estate. Nakuru Town East Sub-County Deputy County Commissioner Eric Onyonyi confirmed the incident, terming it as unfortunate.
Nasikia wamekaa na huyu mama kwa miaka karibu 3, sio sana. Alionekana hapa, wakakaa na yeye kwa nyumba, wakalala na yeye. Imepatikana kwamba Waithera mother amepatikana amefungiwa kwa nyumba yake, amekufa.
Now to world news, Taliban fighters have declared victory at Kabul airport after the withdrawal of U.S. troops. The final American plane departed just after midnight on Tuesday. This as Amnesty International called for credible and transparent investigation into a drone strike near Kabul airport on Sunday, which reportedly killed 10 members of the same family, including 6 children.
The sound of celebratory gunfire rang out in Kabul as the last U.S. forces left Afghanistan, marking the end of their 20-year presence in the country. Heavy gunfire was reported in Kabul overnight as pro-Taliban forces celebrated. U.S. officials said that together with allies, they managed to evacuate some 123,000 people before the August 31st deadline. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says a new chapter of America's engagement with Afghanistan has begun.
We've suspended our diplomatic presence in Kabul and transferred our operations to Doha, Qatar, which will soon be formally notified to Congress. Given the uncertain security environment and political situation in Afghanistan, it was the prudent step to take. We will continue our relentless efforts to help Americans, foreign nationals, and Afghans leave Afghanistan if they choose.
Amnesty International has in the meantime called for a credible and transparent investigation into a drone strike near Kabul airport on Sunday, which reportedly killed 10 members of the same family, including 6 children. The U.S. initially reported that there had been no civilian casualties in the strike against a vehicle it said was carrying at least one person associated with the Afghan branch of the Islamic State group. It has since said it is investigating reports of civilian deaths. Amnesty International USA's Executive Director Paul O'Brien stated the U.S. has a responsibility to the families of those killed to name the dead, acknowledge its actions, investigate and provide reparations.
Crossing over to matters business, where exporting tea to Pakistan will be relatively cheaper following a 0.5% waiver on the tea export value. This follows conclusive conversations and negotiations between the two countries that took place in April. Tea and Pakistani rice remain key trade commodities between the two countries.
What we sell to Pakistan is about 81.5% of, we have about an 81.5% market share of the total tea imported by Pakistan. So it's a really large, we're the largest seller of tea to Pakistan.
In January, Pakistan was Kenya's tea export destination, accounting for 17.42 million kilos, an equivalent of 39% total export value.
This fee would therefore build up onto the cost of Kenyan tea in the Pakistani market. And Kenya requested that this be eliminated because it was really just at an attestation fee on export documents from Kenya to Pakistan.
However, an attestation fee that had been imposed on Kenyan tea at the rate of 0.5% of the total has now been abolished.
This is an important outcome that will pave way for greater trade collaboration between the two countries. Removal of this non-tariff barrier will open new era for Kenyan tea exporters and Pakistani tea importers.
The deals between Kenya and Pakistan will boost trade and investment during a time when Kenya is looking to increase her export portfolio to Pakistan to include avocado, herbs, nuts and vegetables. Now, artists should expect decreased loyalty payouts in this financial year due to lower collections. This is according to the collective management organizations, which say lack of enforcement support and negative impact of COVID-19 is likely to see collections reduced by more than 50%.
Kenya Association of Music Producers, Performers' Rights Society of Kenya and Music Copyright Society of Kenya licenses were revoked by the Copyright Board on claims of misappropriation of funds. The collective management organizations only distributed 41 million shillings to artists as loyalty after collecting 114 million shillings. The organizations claim they have been unfairly targeted by the regulator, and the low payout to artists was as a result of decreased revenue collections and high administrative costs.
The net effect will be that we have operational cost to take care of our spending, meaning that even the money that goes to our artists and members will be reduced.
The collective management organization says withdrawing of security agents' collection of royalties from business premises has seen collections reduced drastically from a high of 500 million shillings in 2019 to 114 million shillings last year and significantly increased the collection costs.
Kuokota pesa ni shida na tunaambiwa tuende na polisi ndio tuweze kulipa pesa yetu. Polisi ambayo serikali ilitupokonya sisi hatuna polisi.
This coupled with the negative effects of COVID-19, the collections and payouts are further expected to decrease by a further 50%.
Look at how the hotels are working today. 50% of the revenues that we normally generated from the hotel industry and transport industry, they have been affected.
Wrangles between the collective management organizations and artists has seen the government initiate the process of creating a single entity that will collect and distribute artist royalties that are estimated at 2 billion shillings.
Now, the government is in the process of contracting a new firm to complete the expansion of the ISIOLO International Airport to accommodate larger aircrafts after the previous contractor did a shoddy job and fled. Transport Principal Secretary Solomon Kitungu says the government is keen on having construction of the cargo shades and extension of the runway from 1.4 kilometers to 2.5 kilometers completed by December this year.
The short runway and absence of cargo shades to allow cargo flights to operate has caused some airlines to halt operations at the ISIOLO International Airport. This is in addition to the lack of a control tower that has been cited as some of the reasons why the airport is yet to become fully operational. Speaking after touring the facility to assess progress of the ongoing work, Transport Principal Secretary Solomon Kitungu said the government is finalizing the procurement process of a new contractor to redo the work with the target of restarting operations at the facility this December.
Kuna contractor ambaye alikuwa amefanya kazi huko lakini akafanya kazi mbovu alafu akatoroka hiyo kazi na hiyo ndio ikafanya hiyo airport ikiwa imefungwa. Tumekuja kuona hali yake na at the same time tunaendelea na kumalizia process ya procurement ya contractor mwingine. Kwa hivyo vile tunaweza kuhakikisha ni kwamba by December tutakuwa hiyo kazi vile tumepanga, hiyo kazi itakuwa imemalizika na airport itakuwa operational tena.
The airport is earmarked to transport highly perishable products from the region such as Mira from the neighboring Meru County as well as flowers from Meru and Laikipia counties. It is also expected to help ferry meat and other animal products from Isiolo, Marsabit and Samburu counties for the export market.
Kuna ile project ya kujenga cargo shed ambayo itatumika sana kwa kufanikisha biashara ya miraa. Hiyo nayo inaendelea, tutaenda kujionea sasa hivi. Napatiwa ripoti hapa kwamba iko karibu 55% completed, na hiyo pia tunahisi by December itakuwa imekamilika.
The facility is expected to play a key role in opening up the Northern Frontier region for business and investment.
Najua wakati hii ilikuwa imefunguliwa na president, watu wa taksi na wafanyabiashara ndogo na county mzima ya Isiolo na ya Meru wote walikuwa na matumaini makubwa kwa sababu biashara ingekuwa ingefunguka. Na kidogo ilididimia baada ya kuona ya kwamba imechukua muda mrefu na hakujaanza kazi.
The construction of the ISIOLO International Airport has cost taxpayers about 3.1 billion shillings.
And our viewers, some that are logged in on Facebook Live, are asking what happens to that contractor who fled. Thank you very much, Aaron C. Lagat, who is watching from Bomet County. We have Erico Petro, who is watching live from Diwasap County, Homabay County. We have Joy Sinanji, who says, Mama Sinanji, watching live from Kakamega, Makunga. And I love the lady in studio. You're my role model. Asante sana. Thank you for making time. We have Fred Manyenyi, watching from Masaba area, pamoja na bro wake Kevo wa Kinyozi na bibi yangu Zipora. Thank you very much for making time, as well as Danny El Valgon. Remember, we are live on our various social media platforms, and we welcome your feedback. Tell us where you're watching this particular broadcast from. Now we continue with matters business, where UAP All Mutual Group has swung back to profitability, posting 552 million shillings in half-year pre-tax profit compared to a loss of 57 million shillings for the same period in 2020.
The group reported a profit before tax of 552 million compared to a small loss of 57 million in the prior year. This was driven by good top-line growth, outperforming the market on GWP, as well as improved returns on investment income, mainly driven by the performance of the stock market and our cash conservation efforts across the group in line with the COVID-19 situation.
Now that brings up to matters sports, where Kenya missed out on yet another medal at the ongoing Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games after Eric Sang finished 6th in the final of the men's 1500 meters T11 category yesterday morning. Sang only competed in the final after appealing the incident that saw him finish 5th in heat 2 of the qualifiers.
Eric Sang missed out on a chance to bag Kenya's second medal at the ongoing Paralympic Games in Tokyo after finishing 6th in the final of the men's 1500 meters. Sang, who was included in the final despite finishing 5th in heat 2, clocked 4 minutes 21.53 seconds to finish 6th in the race won by Yeltsin Jacques of Brazil in a world record time of 3 minutes 57.60 seconds. Shinya Wada of Japan took the silver, while Fedor Rudakov of the Russian Olympic Committee settled for the bronze.
Ilikuwa mzuri, lakini nilielewa ni finishing, nataka nichifundishe. So nimejua finishing inatakikana kabisa. Ni ako kick power.
With the only one medal, a bronze, that Kenya has won, it is ranked at position 70 in the Games that will end on Sunday, with China leading second place Great Britain by more than 20 gold medals.
Nimejaribu kung'ang'ana, lakini mwili imekataa. Mwili imekataa peke yake. Sai naenda kujitahidi tu kufanya mazoezi kali. So nimejua watu wameshakimbia, wameshafanya mazoezi ya kutosha.
Now, still speaking on matters of sports, is that Burundi PVP edged Djibouti's FAD FC 2-1 in the CAF Women Champions League CECAFA qualifier match played yesterday at the Kasarani Stadium. Ingilima Nicole opened the score for PVP in the 22nd minute, a lead that lasted only 15 minutes before Djibouti's FAD FC equalized through Laman Sikei. Nicole was on target again to hand PVP the win in the 53rd minute, collecting the 3 crucial points for her side. PVP will next play Uganda's Lady Droves on Friday at the Nyayo Stadium, with the Ugandan side looking for 3 points after being held to a goalless draw by Tanzania's Simba Queens in the other match played yesterday. Kenya's Vihiga Queens will take onto the ground today, with matches being played behind closed doors as part of the COVID-19 prevention protocols.
Jina timu nzuri, timu ngumu, lakini mwisho wa siku watupata matokeo. Lakini kwa hao wameshinda, maana pointi moja kwa hao wanaongoza kundi. Lengo ni kuhakikisha kwamba tuna focus kwa next mechi ya mwisho wetu, na tukipata mechi hiyo ushindi, maana sisi tuna go to semi final. Hilo ndio lengo letu.
The final whistle it blew, that was the point, which is I deserved it because the team which I played was it was experienced enough.
Kile kikubwa kwenye mashindano kama haya ni pointi 3. Ndio kikubwa,
Mungu katupa hizo pointi 3, tunasubiria mechi ya kufuata. Hiyo mechi ndio itakuwa ya kutuamulia kama tutaendelea mashindano au kama tutaendelea. Lakini ningependa kusema kama hizo pointi 3 za leo zinatupa nguvu ya kupigana kwa mechi ya mwisho.
National football team Harambee Stars has been boosted with the arrival of skipper Michael Olunga and debutant field midfielder Richard Odada as the team prepares to face off with Uganda in the first match of the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers in Nairobi tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Ugandan national team arrived in Nairobi the day before last ahead of the duel.
Qatar-based Olunga has been Mule's keeper since he took charge with regular Victor Wanyama absent. Serbia-based Odada is meanwhile set to make his first ever appearance for the national team, having been handed a call-up following several impressive performances. He has previously played for the under-20 team. Also arriving in time for the game is Zambia-based goalkeeper Ian Otieno, Sweden-based defender Eric Ouma, Masu Juma and Kenneth Muguna, who has been in Zambia for pre-season with his new club Azam FC. Meanwhile, the Uganda national team arrived in Nairobi on Monday night ahead of the duel. The Cranes were in Ethiopia over the weekend where they played a friendly match against the hosts Bahir Dar, losing 1-0.
Now, Kenya Table Tennis Federation Chairman Andrew Mudibo has officially confirmed that he will be vying for the Secretary General position during the National Olympic Committee of Kenya election slated for late next month. Mudibo will be seeking to unseat Francis Mutuku, who has held the position since 2018.
I will be standing for the position of Secretary General in the National Olympic Committee elections when they come. From what you can see, development of any sports has to start from the grassroots.
I wish them all the best because National Olympic Committee of Kenya plays a very pivotal role in the development of sports in this country and also in the fielding of quality teams in the international body, as you have seen in the last Olympics.
Now, that puts a cap to Matters News. Remember, you can get further details in regard to those stories that we had prepared for you in our bulletins on our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. Further on, if you prefer to watch it online, you can get us on our YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1.